is the Weekly Digest, a government information agency program that keeps you informed on what the administration has been doing that will create a better environment for citizens. I encourage you to stay tuned. In this week's presentation for the period April 11 to 17, 2015, first five-star hotel officially opens its doors in Guyana. Guyana now equipped to host international athletic events. Guyana lauded by USA Today's supplement, and third cruise ship arrives with international tourists. Nearly 4 years in the making, the 197-room Guyana Marriott opened its doors on April 16, becoming Guyana's largest hotel. It has now taken Guyana to a higher tier as a tourism destination.
The 9-story Marriott, located at Kingston in the country's capital, Georgetown, gives Guyana its first world-class hotel, a major boost for a country whose tourism industry has been steadily growing in recent years and which wants to attract more arrivals and more lucrative conferences and gatherings.
The Marriott is, of course, a huge international brand of the highest repute. It's a brand that is well known for the excellence of its properties and for the excellence of the services that they offer. We're delighted that the Marriott saw Guyana as a place in which they would like to do business. They were sufficiently confident to associate their brand with our country and with this hotel, and that they've worked as closely as they have with us to establish a hotel of true international class and standard and caliber.
The building boasts a total of 197 rooms and 5 suites across 9 floors, along with 11 meeting rooms and 8,321 feet of meeting space, and a pool. It features a restaurant called Tirmari, a pool bar and grill, and a great room. The hotel is also helping with employment and is providing jobs for around 250 people and about 100 indirectly.
I've had over the past several months, but particularly and more intensely over the past few days, a number of conversations with the leadership of the Marriott at very, very senior levels of Marriott International. And on every occasion, I've heard a constant message that the Marriott International is proud to be associated with this hotel and is proud to have its brand attached to this hotel. And indeed that this hotel can hold its own amongst the family of Marriott hotels around the world and amongst the family of world-class hotels around the world. So it's certainly a fantastic addition to the Guyanese landscape and provides a very, very important fillip to the tourism industry and to the tourism infrastructure in Guyana.
The $51 million project was first launched in November 2011.
The state-of-the-art National Athletic Synthetic Track, another world-class venue for Guyana, was officially opened on April 17, paving the way for international events to be staged at Leonora.
The National Synthetic Athletic Track, the first of its kind in Guyana located on the west coast of Demerara, was built to the tune of over $1 billion and reflects government's commitment to provide a means for better sports preparation and performance of the nation's sportsmen and women.
This facility, it was encouraged. We spoke at length about having this facility over the years, and the government, in its usual supportive role, has granted us with a facility that we are proud of. This is coming from as far as the president of the IAF, Mr. Lamine Diak, the president of the South American Athletics Federation, Mr. Roberto Gesto Delgado, council members of the Athletic Association of Guyana, clubs, executives, and all other athletes. We want to thank you again, from the president coming all the way down, for a very great facility that we all can be proud of as Guyanese. This facility will be used primarily for competition and finishing training prior to going to international competition. We are going to treat this facility with great respect and assure you that it will be cared for and treated the way that we all could be proud of Guyanese of having such a facility.
This all-weather facility has met the highest international standards and is regarded by the International Association of Athletics Federation as the gold standard and has been certified. The track itself is made up of 2 layers, the base and surface layers. It is equipped with a 400-meter surface, a parking area and 3 stands, and a VIP area, and a football field that is a minimum expectation of a FIFA football match.
With opening up of this facility, we will be able to lay the foundation to become a powerhouse in track and field events, not only in the Caribbean, but on a larger stage. Imagine when we look at some of our national records, they have been on the board for too long, and we need this generation of young people to smash some of those records. In 1959, when we beat Jamaica and Trinidad here in Guyana, a record for steeplechase was set by Clement Fields, and he set a record in the 300-meter steeplechase of 10 minutes and 3 seconds. On the 9th of August, 1959, that record still stands. But I think we'll have athletes here who will very shortly be breaking that record.
The athletic track adds to a growing list of investment initiatives in sports in Guyana: the Guyana National Stadium at Providence, the Albion Sports Complex, the Aquatic Center at Linendal, and the Squash Court at Wolford Avenue.
As supplement to USA Today, prepared by United World Limited, has recognized Guyana's efforts to pursue a green economy. The 12-page supplement titled Why Guyana examines, among others, why the country is the ideal base to do business in South America and the Caribbean. The supplement cites, among one of the reasons, the fact that Guyana is green and peaceful. According to the supplement, Guyana has emerged as a pioneer in green economic policy making. It recognizes that the country has taken the lead on important issues like climate change and is pioneering in green creation through its low-carbon development strategy agreement with the government of Norway.
We're also an example where we have demonstrated to the international community and many skeptics who believe that once you talk environment and once you do the things that are necessary to protect the environment and have a positive impact on climate, that you need to sacrifice economic opportunities and sacrifice jobs. And we have demonstrated and we've proven that you can protect, you can pursue sustainable development, you can do things that are climate friendly, and at the same time, you can grow the economy and you can create opportunities for all our people.
It also noted that these, along with the peaceful attributes of the country, have helped it to secure foreign direct investment in agriculture, forestry, mining and petroleum, among other sectors, and that Guyana boasts an enviable array of natural resources, including gold, diamonds, timber and bauxite.
We're only one of 2 countries across the world where we get payments for eco-services, and this is as a relationship that we've had with Norway. We've been one of the first countries where we've been able to quantify and to monetize what it is our forests value in terms of standing, and we've been able to know what it is we've been able to value trapping, as it were, CO2 and what it is our trees do. We've been able to put a dollar figure on those concepts that many people have doubted and have been skeptical about.
The USA Today supplement also examines, among other aspects, Guyana as a regional gateway, its prudent policy making, focus on education, powerful hydro potential, and tourism opportunities. The Sea Adventurer cruise ship, formerly the Clipper, recently graced the shores of Guyana, allowing over 100 tourists from around the world the opportunity to view the beautiful capital city Georgetown and the mighty Essequibo River.
After docking at the Guyana National Shipping Corporation wharf on Saturday, the ship made its way into the Essequibo River, where the tourists were able to spend some time on Baganara Island Resort. Captain Peter Usk, who described Guyana as an excellent destination, said its destinations like Guyana more cruise ships are looking for.
Expedition ships, expedition cruises, they are really looking for places where the normal ships are not going with the passengers. And so far this seems to be an excellent destination also for the future to come more often, and we are looking forward really to watch whatever there is, birds and waterfalls and all the natural things in this country.
The Sea Adventurers and Ice strengthened ship suited for soft adventures in the Antarctica, and this ship is the third cruise ship to have arrived in Guyana thus far for the year. Director of the Guyana Tourism Authority, Indranath Harold Singh, visited the ship and extended a warm welcome to captain, crew, and passengers. According to Harold Singh, the ship has a draft of about 4.5 meters and is ideal for Guyana's very shallow and silt-laden rivers, making it easy to make its way into Guyana. The Sea Adventurer traveled among the Arctic, Antarctica, and southern areas and is always looking for destinations.
Stay tuned. More of the Weekly Digest after the break.
To ease traffic congestion along the East Bank Highway, which is a critical thoroughfare for accessing the city, plans are afoot to construct a new bypass linkage from Eccles to Diamond. Additionally, the feasibility study for the East Coast East Bank Bypass Road has been completed, and government will be examining how to advance this huge project.
Ghana's crime fighting capacity has been boosted tremendously. A state-of-the-art forensic laboratory, the formation of the country's first ever special weapons and tactical SWAT unit, and institutional strengthening are some aspects of the sector's reforms. Capacity building has played an important role as ranks have received training both locally and overseas to effectively deal with various aspects of crime solving. A message from the Government Information Agency.
Wages and salaries under the PPPC administration have seen a significant rise over the years, and workers are now receiving a living wage.
Guyanese workers are today in receipt of livable wages and salaries as a result of several adjustments to the income tax threshold. This facilitates an increase in disposable income, which gives a heightened percentage to those at the lower end of the scale. In 2014, public servants earning under $50,000 received an 8% increase, while those above received a 5%. The across-the-board increases were made to public servants. Disciplinary forces members whose wages and salaries are above $50,000 as of December 31, 2014, received 5%. Those at less than $50,000 per month advanced by 8% retroactive to January 1, 2014, and teachers received an additional 3%, apart from a 5% increase already paid in accordance with a multi-year agreement that government had agreed to with the Guyana Teachers Union. There have also been other benefits, such as a raising of the tax threshold from $6,000 in 1992 to $50,000 at present, and the slight increase of National Insurance Scheme payments, which only apply to those earning over $50,000. With the increases in salaries and wages, workers can now be what they want to be.
As the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development continues to work to ensure a cleaner Guyana, the neighborhood democratic councils nationwide have benefited from the necessary equipment.
The latest of these were 10 of the 16 neighborhood democratic councils in Region 6 East Berbice Quarantine. Each one received a 65H SP double-wheel tractor with one Bison hydraulic lift trailer along with 25 45-gallon bins each. The beneficiaries were Kintyre Ballram, Gibraltar Firish, Lancaster, Hoxtie, Bushlot Adventure, Blackbush, Polder, Macedonia, Joppa, Good Hope, number 51, and the number 52, number 74 NDCs. Meanwhile, Ordnance, Fortlands, and the Canefield Enterprise NDCs will share one tractor and trailer, which will be stationed at the Canefield NDC. The other two remaining NDCs did not receive vehicles, but both benefited from receiving 25 bins each at a cost of $4,500, for one amounting to $225,000. Each NDC benefited from approximately $5.7 million, as the vehicles were procured at a cost of approximately $57 million, with an individual cost of a tractor being put at $4.43 million and a trailer at $1.25 million each. These NDCs also benefited from 25 bins.
We of the government, we of the People's Progressive Party civic government, determined that, one, we need to look beyond Georgetown. We need to look at the 83,000 square miles and it's over 775,000 inhabitants. And that is why, rather than wait on some from the opposition who brought this motion to the Parliament, because they were very tardy in moving forward with the motion, we thought that it would be a good thing to take the cleanup program across the 10 regions. And that is why, rather than a restoration of Georgetown, we thought about a cleanup of my country.
Under the Clean Up My Country program, which was a nationwide campaign, 75 groups were signed on to work in Georgetown. 2,239 community enhancement workers gained employment, and 69 communities spanning from Agricola to Atlanticville benefited from cleanup activities under the $500 million allocation to Georgetown. Meanwhile, the other $500 million was spent on activities in other regions, of which the procurement of those vehicles fall. Regions 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9 also benefited from bulk waste collection. This amounted to $67.436 million Ghana dollars and saw $14.5 million going towards Region 6. A total of 45 tractors and trailers were procured for distribution to the NDCs countrywide.
Government has expended huge sums of money to increase countrywide water coverage, allowing Guyanese to enjoy safer water. The latest of these investments are the 2 new water treatment facilities in Linden, Region 10.
The 2 new water treatment facilities, which are nearing completion in Linden at Amelia's Ward and Wisrock, will see a further increase in water coverage in Region 10, joining the over 700 villages throughout Guyana that is accessing potable water, with running taps in every home or yard, thanks to the government's National Water Improvement Program.
There was a time, for example, when our housing program was non-existent. Today we have a housing program that has moved the age of home ownership from an average of 57 years to 34 years. There was a time when the average age of owning your own home was 57. You could not dream of owning your own home until you were 57. Today you can own your own home at an age below 35. There was a time when interest rate for housing was close to 40%. Today you can get interest rate for housing at 4.2%. There was a time when we had 0% coverage in treated water. Today we have close to 50% coverage in treated water, and the goal is to take it to 65% in the short term. But to do that, we need continuity. We need continuity of the developmental agenda. We need continuity in policy predictability.
In excess of $20 billion has been invested in this sector, with a per capita investment of nearly $30,000 per household over a 15-year period. These investments resulted in the construction of 7 new water treatment plants to increase coverage, drilling of 25 new potable water wells, distribution and transmission networks, and rehabilitation of sewer system.
I feel that it's something great because we had a lot of problem getting water. We had to go with it, as Ms. Waldron said, with push cart and all. So, but I'm quite happy that now that we have the water to our labor. And we're thankful and we are grateful that we have the water here.
Now I'm so happy I have water enough to do anything that I want to do. And I just want to thank the government so much because I'm a pensioner, 75 years old, and I don't pay for water. So I just want God to bless the government and they continue their good job.
Reflective of this significant stride, the percentage of persons with access to potable water has increased from 26% to 50%, and provision of new service for in excess of 100,000 persons for the first time.
During Cabinet's statutory meeting at the Office of the President on April 14, several issues of national concern were discussed. The media was subsequently briefed on Cabinet's deliberations.
During Cabinet's statutory meeting on April 14, it was observed that former President Barrow Jagdio's Babu John's statement was a repeat of what was said by others.
Cabinet is contending that they were material facts about the former president, sorry's contention. Facts that those statements alluded to were acknowledged as statements made by others.
It was also noted that the E-Link fiber optic cable rehabilitation will begin soon.
An arrangement has been put in place to have work commence on its rehabilitation. And as I sit here, I do have some of the most initial reports of progress being made in the rehabilitative efforts by this consortium seeking to restore the fiber optic cable to its original design.
Meanwhile, there are no provisions to impair government's functions in face of Parliament's dissolution.
I can't see the dissolution of Parliament. This is one of the branches of government materially leading to some impairment of the functioning of the executive government. What I'm willing to concede is that its functioning continuously beyond constitutional parameters. It's a question that we would need to engage.
Cabinet also gave green light to several contracts, which included the procurement of medical supplies for the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, the engagement of service providers for the provision of elections infomercials, and the procurement of sensitive materials for elections, which includes ballot paper, ink, stamps, tally sheets, etc.
And now for perspectives with Dr. Prem Mizir.
The new political wagon in town, APNU AFC, sells itself cheaply as being so saintly in that it has no flaws but can only see faults with its opponent, the PPPC. And to put the icing on the cake, it says that it has all the answers for whatever troubles Guyana, notwithstanding the presumed opportunistic nature of its coalition, misplaced anger, misplaced priorities, and no policy and program as part of its agenda. If elected, APNU AFC, a new political body, or perhaps not so new, as it is the PNC in a different clothing, may be a fading novelty that will wear off in the weeks ahead, as befalls all novelties whose freshness is temporary. And the PNC executive had to approve APNU AFC coalition to make it happen. Otherwise, there would have been no APNU AFC coalition. And so it is the PNC executive that drives APNU AFC coalition. The PNC sees this coalition as its best chance of returning to political office, as was the case of its exploitation of its short-lived coalition partner United Force under Mr. Peter Degar to form a government in 1964. Having then fortified its illegal political base to go it alone, the PNC at that time unceremoniously annihilated the United Force in the 1968 general election. If this historical trend with the PNC still holds, the AFC will face decimation once it has outlived its usefulness for the PNC or the APNU. In this sense, the AFC slogan for its coalition with APNU, that it is now time for change, just because it invokes Dr. Cherry Jagan's attempts at PPP-PNC coalition, has to be opportunistic and deceptive today. I see some people do not like me to refer to APNU AFC coalition as opportunistic and deceptive. Their concerns have a basis in public perceptions and not substantive arguments and evidence. I made this reference because the AFC sees its coalition as similar to Dr. Jagan's bold attempts at merging the PPP and the PNC and asserting that if it were right then the coalition is right now. However, in the case of 1964, Jagan lost out because of Mr. Forbes Burnham's written rejection of further communication with Jagan on the coalition matter, and indeed also because of the British and American imperialist support for Burnham to form the next government. And there is talk too that if Burnham was not in 1964, there would have been another Burnham. This thinking is not based on evidentiary logic and is a simplistic overgeneralization, as the possibility existed that perhaps another person with different personal constructs might have seen things differently and done things differently. In post-independence attempts at the PPP-PNC coalition, or at a PPP-PNC coalition, it should be clear that Burnham had no interest in a coalition because his illegal political machinery was firmly established, ensuring no threat to his political power base. So, Mrs. Janet Jagan's assertion of mistrust in the coalition negotiation in the 1970s was certainly not the major reason for the collapse of coalition talks. Besides, it is the PNC and Burnham's rejection of coalitions with the PPP that now makes any coalition with the PNC suspect, and indeed opportunistic and deceptive. Consider what happened to the United Force in the 1960s. And just a few weeks before elections, APNU AFC has no policies and programs for the public to consume. That is, articulated policies and programs. The Guyanese people know nothing and may have learnt nothing as to how APNU AFC's policies and programs will impact this nation. People want to know whether there is compatibility in APNU AFC leaders' strategic beliefs. People want to know what single issues are different between APNU and AFC. People want to know whether the coalition is a mere electoral alliance. People want to know how APNU AFC, if elected, will distribute offices. People want to know of important policy differences between APNU and AFC. And people want to know whether differences in the sizes of APNU and AFC matter. APNU AFC looks shabby without this information on its policies and programs, notwithstanding the people's concerns on its presumed opportunistic nature and its misplaced priorities. Never mind that it looks pretty shabby at this time. That is, the coalition looks pretty shabby at this time. I thank you.
And with those features, we have come to the end of this edition of Weekly Digest. But before we go, here's a repeat of the highlights. First, 5-star hotel officially opens its doors. Guyana now equipped to host international athletic events. Guyana lauded by USA Today supplement. And third cruise ship arrives with international tourists. Please note that Weekly Digest and other government information can be found on our website www.gina.gov.gy, or you can send us your comments and suggestions at ginagovgy@gmail.com. You can also read our newspaper, The Guyanese, online at theguyanese.gy. Join us again next week as we highlight more of the government's programs and policies that are aimed at enhancing the lives of citizens. I am Shanta Gobrathan. Do have a safe week ahead. Goodbye.